We're starting recording. We're recording. We're live now.
Oh yeah, this is such an optimum place.
Sure.
You got a question.
Because there's a link. Okay. So you should probably. Okay, I'm just gonna like ask you to say it. Okay. So just say. Yeah, I'll probably sit here. Whose computer is this? This entire setup is computers. Okay. So I'll use this. Okay.
Welcome, Dr. Nichols.
I'll use that. I'll log in over there. And yeah, so you can. Okay.
And I think it should really be a better idea for you to run it because Alex is actually taking pictures.
Okay.
So.
It's really nice in here. Feels good. That's right. That was my stuff. Yeah, just move it. That's fine.
Hi everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started in just a few minutes. So if you could please take your seat. Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to the 2014 Spring Pioneer Panel. My name is Kimberly Washington and I'm serving as the Student Senate President. I would like to welcome all the students and guests to today's event. I would like to remind everyone that today's Pioneer Panel Forum will be broadcasted live for the students who are unable to attend. Your volunteer participation is assumed consent. And when asking questions, please do do so in a respectful manner. Now I would like to welcome Shane Quick.
Good evening. The Pioneer Panel gives students the opportunity to discuss campus events and happenings with the university's top administrators. The Pioneer Panel is a timed event, and we ask that you limit your questions to 1 minute apiece because this event is being podcasted. If you feel uncomfortable asking a question, please write down your question on a piece of white paper and one of the senators will collect it from you. I would now like to introduce you to our panel. We'll begin with my left. On my left, we have Dr. Richard Nicholas, the Vice President of Student Life. Then we have Amy O'Keefe, the Director of Community Services and Distance Education Student Services. Kyle Boyles, the Director of the Student Union, short and sweet. Irvin Nieto-Bright, the Director of Admissions. Then we have Chief Polly, she is, of course, the Director of TPS. And on the end, we have Don McRae, he is the Director of Food Service for Aramark. And to my right, we have Dr. Barbara Lerner, the Associate Provost of Undergraduate Studies and Academic Partnerships, also in We have one of our newest arrivals, Christine Hall, the Director of the Center of Student Development. We have Dr. B, as everybody knows, the Director of Housing, our favorite. Then we have Kimberly Adams, the Associate Director of Financial Aid. And last but certainly not least, we have Deep Leslie, Director of Career Service, who So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Landry Dickerson. He is our treasurer, and he's going to go ahead and get us started with questions.
Okay, let's go ahead and begin our discussion. First question, how are students being involved in the process for the search of the new chancellor? Yes.
There are some microphones on the desk, so you don't have to yell.
Okay, the job of hiring a new chancellor belongs solely to the Board of Regents of this university, any university in the state of Texas, and most around the country. There is a search committee made up of regents who has conducted the bulk of the search with the assistance of a national search firm by the name of Korn Ferry. They're one of the best-known search firms, and their specialty is presidents and chancellors. The search firm sent people to campus to do a series of interviews, some of which included students. There is an advisory committee that the search committee called together that included student representation. At this point, I'm not aware that a great deal has been done with the advisory committee. They have relied on the search firm and the search committee at this point. I do anticipate that a timeline will be out within the next few days as the search draws to a close. But that's as much as I can tell you about it.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols. Are there any? No. Okay, are there any questions in the audience this far? Okay. Caitlin, a photography major, wants to know how the new union is progressing and when will a vote and construction take place?
We are still moving forward. Our hope is that this fall we would still be able to move forward with the referendum vote. We are going to be looking at seriously this summer, and it's not just the union when we consider this. The university has to consider every possible construction process or phase we'd be looking at. So we have to look at parking, housing, any new academic buildings, a union. All of that has to be lumped together once we start doing some funding and how that's going to work with when we sell the bonds to make this happen. So hopefully by the fall I will have some more concrete answers on that. But that's our target to begin that referendum process at that point.
Okay. Yeah, we don't bite our
I have a question. One of my questions is for Amy O'Keefe from Commuter Services. What will Commuter Services be offering students as far as like discounted tickets and stuff with the revamping of I-35, will any programs be available for students since it'll be taking up a lot of the, what is it, the traffic, community traffic?
This is a tough question, Knight. That's a good question, Becca. Well, one thing that's important to understand with discounted tickets is sort of that saying, there's no such thing as a free lunch. So with the discounted tickets, somebody somewhere pays. And so right now, we offer the discounted local bus ticket, so that only students who are using the local bus are purchasing those tickets. And that cost has been actually pretty reasonable for the university, so we feel like it hasn't been, we haven't burdened students with that. But if we were to really look at a whole new package, I don't think the funding really, as things are right now, is there. But I will tell you a couple of things. One is with I-35, how many of you come up I-35 from Dallas? So a lot of people. So when you cross Lake Louisville, every lane that you see now, north and south, all of those lanes, every single one of them will be north only. That's how massive this project is that we're talking about. So they're going to have 8 new lanes heading southbound. And the way that that happens is through what they call managed lanes, which is sort of a way to just, they basically say toll roads and not have people mad at you immediately. So managed lanes, really though, it's the only way it can happen. There's not enough money in the state government to pay for these massive projects. So they do these combination partnerships. So the center lanes are managed or tolled. And so people who choose to use those will pay for the convenience. And they're going to be, the toll is going to be based on the time of day. So the peak periods are going to cost more, with the idea being that hopefully it's faster. But also they're looking at adapting HOV so that if you have multiple people in your car, you may have access to those managed tolls as well at a lesser charge. So that's something that might be helpful for students who choose to carpool. But the outer lanes are going to remain without the toll. They'll remain free. We fought really hard for that, and I think they see that as well. So this long answer, Becca, is we don't have anything in the immediate future, but I think it's something that student government were interested in. It's something we should start talking about because, well, I know if we were to, not that long ago, we were talking about the cost of transportation, and we probably need to reevaluate what we say it costs to attend a university based on what we pay for transportation, because it's going to impact all of us. So that's one thing that we've already begun to look at. But what I would encourage people to do is just keep checking out that 35 Express website. And there's a meeting right after this one tonight, if you have questions with the company that's been hired to do the construction has hired a communications team who is led by a woman named Kimberly Sims, who is a TWU alum, of course, because they only hire the best and brightest. So she, of course, is especially concerned about how it's going to impact us. And they are being incredibly proactive in getting out and talking to people. What are the needs? The reality is construction is construction. You can't expand the road without there being some inconvenience. But they are working really hard to communicate so people can anticipate and plan their trips and alternate ways of getting to campus. So thanks. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. Are there any questions?
This is for Ms. McKee. Has TWU thought of doing a carpooling program?
Great question. I love that. The question's about a carpooling program. When the commuter office was first founded under our vice president 8 years ago, I looked at starting a carpooling program. There's all kinds of software. Basically, it's sort of like Match.com for carpoolers. But the deal is, for carpooling to work, is you have to have drivers and riders who are flexible. And so how it was set up is you had 15-minute increments. Nobody wanted to wait more than 15 minutes. So I'm driving, and I'm on campus this window, and my rider is like, I don't want to wait that long. You know what I mean? So part of it is people have to be willing to be flexible. I think then it could take off. So there are some newer software solutions looking at that. But I really haven't seen a huge, I actually haven't had any requests in my office for it. I would love to see that. It would help with our parking issue. It would help with construction traffic on our highways. It's more economical for students to ride together. I think it's safe, too, to have a buddy, especially when you're tired from studying. So the mom and me would love to see that. So that's something that student government's interested in. I would really like to work on how can we encourage students to carpool. Right now, what I tell students is to make announcements likely going to be on campus at the same time as people that they're in class with. So any ideas you have on that, I would love to partner.
I'm not sure if this is still staying, but last semester I saw a bulletin board by the commuter office, and it was about carpooling. I'm not sure if that's it.
Yeah, we had it where people could sign up, especially for trips like you're driving to Houston or Austin around the holidays, where you could partner with people.
There's talk around campus that family housing will be phased out in our reports. If this is true, will there be new housing placement for families?
Family housing will not be phased out. We do not plan to make any changes to family housing numbers at this point in time.
Any questions to the audience?
Oh, I have one. I probably have a lot. Okay, so there was I guess this would be for Dr. Douglas. There's a survey that went out this past week about athletics, and I know at the last Pioneer panel there was talk about maybe an additional sport being added. Within this survey, there was 2 that were in the concentrated area, tennis and cross country. How far are we coming along with that to see where
The survey that went out is called an interest survey. It's a requirement of schools in the NCAA. So we're basically checking on interest. We have talked about, and Maggie, you may remember this, there are possibilities to add a new sport to the athletic program. We could be asked to add one by the Lone Star Conference that we belong to. They have a minimum number of sports required, and there is some general talk about increasing the minimum. We could also be asked to add a sport by the NCAA itself. That usually is done to balance sports or to balance gender in sports. NCAA likes to increase the number of student athletes in the programs. Neither of those things has happened at this point. Because of Title IX requirements many years ago, the NCAA established a pattern of checking to make sure if there is enough interest. It began, oddly enough, surveying women to see if they had any interest in athletics. Well, at TWU, that's a survey designed to find out if the increasing male enrollment has enough interest that a male sport may be needed. So again, there are 3 possibilities for adding a sport. This particular survey that you saw, and we don't have any results yet, is the required interest survey for the student body to see what the interest is in adding a sport. The 2 that were indicated are 2 that either we have the current facilities for, like tennis courts, or there is no facility for, like cross country. If interest developed along other lines, for example, the Lone Star Conference saying add a sport, they would be directing it toward a certain group of sports the conference offers. So we're still in alternate planning stages, and we're conducting the NCAA interest survey.
Thank you, Dr. Nicholas. I would like to now welcome our Academic Affairs Chair, Jocelyn Hall, to the podium to continue our discussion.
First, we have an anonymous question from the audience. Very few students have heard of the undergraduate research building. What is the current purpose and how often is it used?
I don't know the response to it, honestly. I know there's been great interest in increasing participation in undergraduate research with the chancellor's fellows in undergraduate research, and the ability to have students work with particular faculty. I don't know if anyone here has had that opportunity to do that, but it's a relatively new program that gives particularly undergraduate students an opportunity to work one-on-one with their faculty on the research that faculty member is conducting. So I would ask you to look at that. As to the actual space usage of the building, I will have to get back to you. I don't know.
Are there any questions from the audience?
With the referendum coming up next fall, has the university considered using or integrating new food options and or providers in addition to Chick-fil-A?
There would be opportunity to add additional national brands if they can be supported. Right now, we're in the process, most of y'all know, at some point or another, we looked at putting in a Subway on campus. Subway has decided not to pursue that, but we are working with another national brand right now to come in an academic building. But as far as the student union goes, a lot of that's going to be determined on what we do with residential dining and where that goes versus where most of the retail would go. But I would say that there probably would be a significant increase in the dining footprint in the new facility as well.
Have there been any additions on the Houston and Dallas campus as food-wise? Do you know?
I can answer part of that, and to piggyback on the other question, we thought we had approval for a Subway to go in classroom building, and Subway declined largely because of opposition from local Subway owners. We still want to put another kiosk, is what we call that type of place, in a classroom building. In particular, CFO is a larger option. We have one in MCL like that. I would look for more of those. In terms of a new union, we have had all the pre-planning and pre-designing meetings. We have asked to put a food court, a retail section there that would replace the garden room. How many of those would be operated as the garden room is now versus national brand, so we can make no decisions. The more you put in, the bigger the building, the more square footage, the higher the cost of building, and the higher the student fee. So we're trying to be both optimistic and cautious about that kind of planning.
I can probably do this without the mic. As far as Dallas and Houston go, Houston, we're still operating the small convenience store down there with that has the specialty coffee integrated into it. Right now, there's no immediate plans for us to expand that. Dallas, if you haven't been down there, we do operate a small food court that has pizza, salad, some other hot food options, as well as a coffee concept and lots of grab-and-go.
Houston students have asked that we consider some kind of an addition. The construction of the building itself doesn't lend itself to that. We are looking at it from a university standpoint, not asking Aramark to do that. There's no place on first floor to do that other than the little cubicle we have now. And if you go upstairs, it presents new difficulties. A retail dining outlet, if there was any cooking, for example, you have to meet all the standards. We don't currently have the drainage or grease trap capabilities, that kind of stuff. For what we would call a grab-and-go facility, prepared sandwiches and so forth, we are looking at whether there is any way to do that. At the moment, there's nothing on the table. John's right. We haven't given up on the idea yet, but there is not a really good solution to it. Houston, the course schedule basically only allows 1 hour for them to go get lunch, which is fine if you want to run grab a sandwich and have it during that hour, but it's not really good for a food service. It's going to pay someone to be there from some early time in the morning until the afternoon. Like every food service, it has to at least break even.
Any more questions from the audience?
We have an honest one here. There are buildings on campus that seem to lack security cameras, some often included by students. Why is that?
I didn't hear all the questions.
There are some buildings on campus that seem to lack security cameras, some often frequently by students. Why is this?
We just started adding cameras just a few years ago. When new buildings are built, it's easy to put that into the plans, but when you're retrofitting, it costs quite a bit of money. If you'd been here 5 years ago, 10 years ago, there was opposition to having cameras because we were infringing on people's rights. So it's only been in the last few years that we've started putting cameras in the buildings, and that's going to continue.
A few students have inquired about the difficulty they face when it comes to advising and tutoring. With the implementation of the Pioneer Center for Student Success, will this become more streamlined?
One I can answer. Absolutely. I hope everyone here has been to the new Pioneer Center. Have you? Yes? Okay, if not, you're going immediately after this meeting. The Pioneer Center for Student Excellence is on the second floor of the library. Dr. Joshua Adams is the director of the Pioneer Center, and we are right now in the process of reorganizing and re-coordinating academic advising. There will soon be a new coordinator of academic advising who will be working directly with all of the advisors in all 4 colleges. So advising responsibility will remain in the college, but coordination of that advising will improve. What we're trying to do is establish what Josh and I refer to as a common student experience. We want to make sure that whether you're in nursing or education or arts and sciences, and gosh, I hope you all turned off your phones, that you will have an experience similar to that of every student. In addition to that, we're looking also at the tutoring centers, the SLARC, the right side, and the math center, and looking for ways to utilize, as you know, your students are paying this beginning last fall instructional enhancement fee, and that fee is directly going toward advising and tutoring. So you should see some significant changes, both in advising and in those tutoring centers. And any particular questions or recommendations that you have, you could send to me or Dr. Adams at the Pioneer Center. We want your input. This is our opportunity to really retrofit both of those services for you. We really consider both of those to be essential to student success.
So that as graduating senior looking at grad school, what programs does TWU have to offer and what kind of funding?
I can answer most of that one. You know, when as we share information from the admissions office, one of the things is we also go and serve that prospective student who's looking for graduate school. And a lot of times students are coming to us directly looking. They know they want PT school or OT, or they're looking maybe for an EMBA. But I think one of the things is some discovery that we do offer a number of graduate programs, definitely in the health sciences, also through the School of Management, a number of programs related not only to say, in regards to say some of the allied health programs such as speech language pathology or dental occupational therapy, physical therapy, nutrition, but also the business administration, the health systems management. It is a high demand out there that has really expanded. So we're seeing that a lot of individuals finding some really good graduate programs. But then also when you're looking at the College of Arts and Sciences, there are graduate programs throughout all of that area. The psychology program here has a very strong grad program. I really would encourage not only seniors, but juniors who are already thinking of their career path and looking at what would be my next step, to be speaking with your faculty member, your faculty advisors in regards to the direction of your career path, because sometimes there are some professions that have a very easy flow as to what would be a graduate program. Someone might be getting their Bachelor's of Science in Nursing and then wanting to get that Master's in Nursing, be it for nurse practitioner. But oftentimes, someone might be getting a bachelor's degree in a particular area that has some flexibility and provides you a lot of different paths in regards to what degree program. And so definitely, be it one is looking at a degree in history or a graduate program also in some of the sciences, those programs are here. So there is, just like sometimes when you were trying to decide your undergraduate major, some of that self-discovery and research is really important to be doing as early as your junior year, if not even, I know some students already are starting to think about that, but definitely visit with faculty members, look at the grad programs that are here, because you also want to make sure that you're preparing as early as possible. To try to start for a graduate program, you can't be deciding at the semester that you're going to be graduating. You need to already know what was the prerequisites. Did it require a particular bachelor's? Does it require a particular GPA? Certain prerequisite courses. Some of them have entrance exams, such as the GRE or the GMAT. If one's planning to go into law school or med school. So that preparation needs to be done much earlier than the senior year. And again, definitely use your academic advisors, but also some faculty that you've built a strong relationship to find out different career paths that are out there that the graduate program would complement you for.
Let me add on, part of the question was about funding. And one thing that some of our students have missed, TWU has scholarships for new graduate students, the same way we do for new freshmen or new transfer students. And unfortunately, one of the things that students miss is that if you're graduating from TWU with a bachelor's degree and you want to move forward to graduate school here, you're counted as a new graduate student and you can apply for those scholarships. Students from other universities seem to know that. They apply in hordes, but not enough of our own students do. And that since there's less federal and state financial aid for graduate students, knowing about the scholarship program is important.
I have a follow-up to that question. Is TWU doing anything to increase the amount of majors that we offer or graduate programs? Because I know like some schools have like public health or social work, but TWU is missing some of those. Is there any chance for an increase in those programs?
There are several different processes. In terms of adding a graduate program, what the university is required to demonstrate to the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board is that there is both a need and a demand. And what those two reflect is the need is, for example, as Irma was talking about in the health professions. So if we were to look at the economy, not only in Texas, but across the country, you can see that we older people are getting older and older, and we're going to need lots of you to care for us. So there's a great need in terms of healthcare across the nation. So there is a need. The second piece to that is demand, which is if we build it, will they come? So that's based on student interest, and you have to determine before you can recommend a graduate program in particular that if we put all of our resources into building a new program, that we are certain that number one, there is a need, and number two, there is a demand. So of all of the factors that the university will look at in determining if a new program is to be developed, we look at workforce data, we look at demographic data, we look all over the state and the country in terms of what the need is, and then we try to assess the demand from our individual students. That being said, there is a tremendous amount of resources that is necessary to create a new program. So if you have a program that is related to a program that we already have, that would seem to suggest that we would have faculty who would be able and qualified to teach in a new program. If you're talking about a program completely disparate from one that we have, then that is a much greater demand on the university to create a whole new department, because that requires a lot of new faculty that go into that. So we're always looking at what those new programs might be. I think that kind of interest could be communicated to the graduate school so that they know that there is an interest out there. But mostly that the need for a new program typically will generate from the faculty within a department. They are the ones who will say, we have students who are looking for this. One final factor that goes into graduate programs is that across the state is not interested in duplicating programs that might be, for example, right across the street. Don't know where that might be, but they say there's an so if we were looking at a new program that existed, say at North Texas or at UTA, what we would have to then do is demonstrate that we were going to be doing something different than those schools, and or that we would be doing it differently. And then therefore we would get that approval to do that. A final thing I will add is that we are looking very purposefully now at partnering with the University of North Texas on a So if there are programs that you are aware of, particularly whether graduate or undergraduate, the university is looking very strategically at partnering across town with UNT to make those opportunities available to all.
I have not turned in my FAFSA. Is it too late to get financial aid?
No, it's not too late to get financial aid. That FAFSA deadline, that priority deadline that we said actually says March 15th. That is a priority deadline only, meaning that if you're going to go to summer school or if you're wanting to get funding that is limited in nature, that you have that FAFSA in by that time. You still can get aid, you can still do the FAFSA now. That's not an issue.
Question from the audience?
As far as the financial aid that's available for graduate students, how is that dispersed between all the campuses? Is there funds that are just available for Denton campus and Houston campus, or how are the needs determined?
No, that it's not done by campuses. It's just that we process all the aid for all three campuses, regardless of where that student is. So it's not anything that's broken up by just Denton campus, just the Dallas campus, just the Houston campus. There are a few scholarships that are specific to those campuses, but as far as federal aid, that doesn't have anything.
So whoever's the highest need, I mean, is that how it's
Basically,
determined?
it is determined by
Regardless
the
of where?
FAFSA results, basically, for that. So as far as graduate students, there's really not a lot of need-based aid available for graduate students because you don't get Pell Grants, you don't get a Texas grant, you don't get such as that. As of last year, they also do not get subsidized staffing loans. It's only unsubsidized staffing loans. There is a small institutional funding, some small state funding is available, but it really is mostly going to be your loans.
Thank you. I would now like to turn it over to Shannon Quick, our Vice President.
I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up with two final questions. The first one from the audience says, will the Greek life on the university be an expansion phase in the near future?
How do you define near future? Is that a legit? Okay, it's undefined. So currently, we are not looking at expanding our Greek life opportunities. We want to make sure that we're providing support for our current chapters and, of course, really making sure that we are assisting them in their development. So we currently have 11 organizations on campus that have about 250 students total. So we want to make sure that we're really building them and setting them up for success before we look at expansion.
Okay, and our last question came from one of our issue sheets. It says that I am currently looking for work. How can career services help me?
Looking for work. Part-time, full-time, internships.
It just says work.
Just work. Let's go through all of them. Part-time on campus. We do post all of the employment opportunities on our website. And when you go on the website, we've made it very user-friendly. So it does list on-campus opportunities, whether you are work-study or non-work-study student. Then there's a list also that says part-time off-campus. You can search there. Then there are degree required. That would be your full-time opportunities requiring a degree. We do offer assistance with to the students as far as resume writing, resume design. Not unless you're seeking an opportunity with your family, that's going to probably be the only opportunity or employment opportunity that a resume will not be needed. And so we do offer assistance with resume writing. We offer mock interviews. We have a software package that we purchased. It's called Interview Stream. That with the webcam and your TWU email address, you can go online 24/7 and practice interviewing skills as often, as many times as you'd like. And so we do, if you are graduating and or an alum of TWU, you can schedule a one-on-one appointment for
Thank you. At this time, I would like to wrap things up by thanking Alina for giving us our online stream. She's our public relations chair. For all of the senators who have helped us so much to get this going. And one special thank you. I'm not sure how many of you know, but Dr. Nicholas is his last Pioneer panel with us. We have appreciated his diligence toward the student senate and the student body for the many years he has been here, and we will miss you, sir, very much. And now I'm going to bring up Kim to give us some closing remarks.
I would like to thank our panelists for taking time out of their busy schedule to be in attendance. So if the audience can help me give the panelists a round of applause. Thank you. You all may now partake in the refreshments that are located in the back.
If you have any questions that we haven't answered, please let us know so we can get those to the appropriate people so we can get them answered.
Thank you.